So at the time I was working for a bank in New York City, doing convertible bonds. You could just feel that my soul was getting squeezed. My soul wasn't in my work. I didn't feel passionate about what I was doing. So I did the opposite thing. The pendulum went from Wall Street to the Omega Institute, which is like a large holistic health center in upstate New York, doing a mixture of Iyengar, Kripalu, and Ashtanga-esque like practice. And that was it. After that, Julian and I were getting married, and he had already accepted a master's program at University of British Columbia. We arrived on January 1st, 1998, and we were supposed to be here for a few years, and it's now 21 years later, a puppy, 2 teenagers. We fell in love with the connection of having ocean, mountains, nature all in one city. It was an incredible place to live. Yoga in Vancouver at the time was nil to existence. No one knew about yoga, no one knew about yoga clothing, there was no yoga mats. You never saw someone carrying a yoga mat around town. Ron Zalko initially took me in, let me teach out of his space for free. He was so accommodating. That's where I met Chip Wilson, and he started talking to me about yoga clothing. What do people wear? At the time, there was only dance wear, and that developed my whole relationship with Chip Wilson and the whole beginning of Lululemon. So we would teach there at night. This was Chip's amazing idea to get more people into his store because the first Lululemon store was not on street level. So I spent years going back and forth between Mysore and Vancouver, just immersing myself in that whole period of study. I came back from my second trip to India, and on that trip, Hamish Hendry from Ashtanga Yoga London was my roommate. And I remember he's like, you need to have a Mysore program. No one will come to yoga at 6 a.m., including my husband even said that. But I was determined. The first big studio came in, City Yoga, under Mike Dennison, and I started the Mysore program there. That was probably 1999. So I persevered, it takes time. And the whole yoga thing evolved, and this is where Ashtanga Yoga Vancouver was born. A Mysore program is a labor of love that takes years and years and years, but the relationships with the students and the people that you form are a lifetime.